Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
Welcome back to another episode of Superhuman Radio. Today is July 8th, and that is 2020. And today's show should be very interesting to most people. And that is, can a test predict when you're going to die? And we're going to discuss this with real serious implications, and also look at the capabilities of testing today, which is changing dramatically right before our eyes. Very, very exciting stuff. Before we get started with that, I have to remind people that my title sponsor is Legendary Foods, and they make the best seasoned nuts in the world. I kid you not. In fact, they have pizza flavored tangy ranch, bacon cheddar. Not only is the seasoning so delicious, but they use the freshest almonds I have ever eaten. And I know I'm a stickler about nuts and about when they get rancid and keeping them in the refrigerator and not buying, what's the word I'm looking for? Cooked nuts, right? Roasted nuts, because it actually changes the fats in it. And Legendary Foods makes the single best seasoned nuts in the world. And right now you can get a sampler pack, which includes 8 different samples of all their flavors for $19.95. If you use the code SHR, you'll save 10% off. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. SHR will save you 10% off your entire order. But more importantly, if you get to $29.99, it's free shipping on top of it. So go to eatlegendary.com. Check out the seasoned nuts. They make great snacks for you, for the kids. School will come back, I promise you. And you'll be glad that you have these in your arsenal. And so we're going to be joined by our guest today, and I've got to bring Dr. Seeds in just a second here there we go. Everybody's here. So we have, let me just remove that. We are joined by Dr. Daniel Elias Martin Herranz from Chronometer.
Hi, Carl.
Dr. Williams.
It's fantastic to be back.
And then, of course, Dr. William Seeds, who literally just stepped out of the OR, right?
Yeah.
Literally, like you were just in the OR a little while ago.
Yes.
Okay. So Dr. Seeds is he's a real surgeon. He's not somebody who used to be a surgeon. Just want to put that out there. So anyway, good discussion here today. So we're doing this for 2 reasons. Number one, it's amazing how the dissemination of new information takes so slow. For people to pick up, that the early adopters need to hear things over and over again. So some of you may have heard this already, but we're doing it for a reason, because not enough people really understand what epigenetic testing is and what it's capable of doing. And so, everybody thinks epigenetic testing is just genetic testing. Oh, I got my 23andMe already. I'm done. I really don't need anything else. But it is very, very different, because it allows you to see what your genes will do in different environmental exposures and conditions. So let's start with this first. What exactly is epigenetic testing, and how is it different than genetic testing?
Yeah, no, that's a fundamental question, Carl. Thanks so much for the intro. I think, people, as you said, have heard a lot about genetics, right? And people are familiar with the fact that genetics is something that is in the raw sequence of our DNA, made of A, T, Cs, and Gs, millions of them, and we inherit this information from our parents, and this predisposes us to certain conditions or certain traits like the color of our eyes. But the problem with that is obviously that the set of genes that we inherit is not the entire picture. We all know that as you said, lifestyle, environmental factors shape our health over time. And therefore, if we really want to understand, what is our status of health right now, understand our risk factors for different diseases, we need to capture this component of, how our genes are being turned on or off by these different lifestyle and environmental factors over time. And this is really what epigenetics can do. So epigenetics is essentially the way that our DNA is wrapped around, and therefore how these genes are turned on or off at a specific time point. And there are different types of epigenetic marks, and I'm sure we'll go into details into this. But basically, the key take-home message is that by quantifying epigenetics as opposed to only the genetic information, we can also capture all these influences of lifestyle environmental factors, which are fundamental for most complex diseases.
Dr. Seeds, so with the emergence of epigenetics and the science, it turns out that while we think our genes are the blueprint, it's highly influenceable. So if you think you're building a house, you have a blueprint, the wall's going to go here, and they follow the blueprint specifically, and the house turns out exactly as you intended it to. But let's say one day the bricklayers came in and somebody made a wrong measurement and the wall is too far to the left, and now you have an unwanted change, which we could also equate to disease state. Is that oversimplifying what epigenetics is, being able to identify where the wall was built in the wrong place to then reverse that mistake?
No, I think that's a great analogy for people to understand. What you just said is very important, that the epigenome, the genome is not reversible. The epigenome is reversible, meaning you can do things to improve the changes that have been made that may be disadvantaged to the cell. So understanding that, what Danny did so well in telling everyone that the epigenome is influencing the genome to, so to speak, change the messaging of the cell. And that can be environmental, it can be nutrition, it can be exercise, it can be everything that can influence that. So your analogy was excellent, because you can go back. Now it's going to be more work, right? It's going to be more work to go back and rebuild that wall, but it can be done. And I think that's the value in understanding this, where we can go with this type of science today to really measure and look at, as Danny also so well articulates, the digital twin type of scenario. We can take that digital twin and really look at how we can make changes that are influenced by changing our influences on the epigenome, like alcohol, exercise, nutrition.
What about stress? Does stress actually, we hear stress kills, but is that an intrinsic effect from the onset of stress? Does it actually start to have epigenetic effects on our genes?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. There are different studies that have done this. Basically looking at the epigenetic layer of information, measuring epigenetics for people that have been more or less stressed, also at different periods during their lives. So there are periods during our lives that we're more sensible to this, for example, like traumatic experiences or different levels of stress, such as when we're growing up. And people have identified these signatures, and we know that they are at least correlated with the chances of developing certain diseases in the medium and long term. And the reason why really epigenetics is picking this up is because when under normal circumstances, when we have different stressors coming to our body, our body mounts fight or flight response, some people call it, to deal with those stressors. And if that is resolved quickly, it's a normal physiological process. But the problem is that when that is repeated and continuing a lot over time, that can lead to damage in our bodies due to this chronic stress. And that is what ends up, through hormones, through other different processes, altering the epigenetic state of some of our tissues and cells.
So, Dr. Seeds, it seems to me that, I'm sorry, go ahead. And then I have a question for you.
I was just going to add to what Danny said, is that we know in the cell that the inflammasome, which is a receptor to environmental or nutritional or metabolic changes, is controlled by damage associated molecular patterns, which is a name for, and we have classified this, that there are receptors for stress itself and how it affects that inflammasome, and then how that carries over into changes in transcription in the cell that will produce these pro-inflammatory type of cytokines and chemokines and proteases that then, as Danny said, over a period of time can have an effect on the on methylation issues, on acetylation, sumination, ubiquination, all these things that can happen, and that can be post-translational changes or chemical changes on the DNA. But mostly what we follow and look at are the methylation changes in the DNA.
Now, is it fair to say that COVID is having an effect on epigenetics because of the lack of ability to train at the gym, being more sedentary, but also the stress of not knowing if you're going to get it and die? Wouldn't it be a fair statement to say that we would probably see epigenetic changes if we tested somebody before the lockdown and after the lockdown? Who wants to grab that?
Yeah, well, I would say it just depends on where that person was. You know, if they were at a tipping point and this was the added stressor that got that level of where I just talked about the cellular changes that need to continue to actually push those changes, absolutely. It just depends on where that person is. It can also be another part of that whole process of stress, which some people talk about as an allostatic load. They like to use that word.
I just talked about that the other day. Yeah.
It's just a combination of everything together. And so absolutely, Carl. I mean, of course.
So let's talk about what Chronomics actually does, because I think the fascinating thing is there seems to be several places now where you can get quote unquote epigenetic testing done. But I want to talk about what Chronomics does, because it's very, very different than what other groups do, right?
Yeah, that's right. I think the key differentiator of what we do is that, we're really pushing the limits of what is possible with epigenetic testing. And to do this, you need two things. So first of all, you need a new technology or the latest technology to quantify as much as you can from the epigenome. So obviously we mentioned that there are millions of different places in your DNA that basically can get this chemical tags, this methyl tags attached or detached from them. And this is what affects in turn the regulation of your genes. So we quantify those methyl groups, those chemical tags, in more than 20 million positions in your DNA. So this is obviously a super comprehensive and a huge data set and a snapshot that we're taking from your epigenome, right? And if you compare this with other technologies, then in the latest versions of those technologies, you normally measure around 850,000 positions. So from the point of view of the type of data that we're collecting, we've gone to use the latest technology, which is known as next generation sequencing. And then obviously what that means is that then you have a lot of data to see many different things that are going on in the epigenome, right? And the idea of what we want to do is essentially to take those epigenetic signatures and relate them to these different risk factors that we were discussing, things such as, the aging process, which is quantifying your biological age, your exposure to different toxins, like the ones that you find in the smoke from tobacco or air pollution, how drinking over the years has affected you, how your metabolism is working, stress, all these different things will leave these specific epigenetic signatures, that because we get this super wide picture or a snapshot of your epigenome. And as Dr. Seed says, building slowly your digital twin, applying machine learning, we can derive all these different measurements.
So there's one other thing I want to mention and why we're doing this show now. So many of you heard this show originally months and months ago, and where we just talked about the Chronomics test by itself. And my audience got a ridiculous 70% off this test to buy it direct so they can assess their own chronological age versus their biological age. And We had a lot of people respond, but there are still some tests left in the number that we allotted for this promotion, this once in a lifetime promotion. These tests will never be 70% off again. And in fact, in a short period of time, probably within a month of this show airing, this offer will be retracted and no one will be able to get this test on their own at this just ridiculously inexpensive price. This is such a valuable test, and we're going to talk about why this may actually be the future of all testing done. Because let's face it, you can look at all this blood work, but it doesn't predict what is a bad actor in your life. This does. That's the big difference. If you go to the website seeds.md/epigenetic-test/ put the second slash on it, please. You'll save 70% on this test. In the future, it will only be available through clinicians, and they will never offer you this price here to get it done. So if you've been sitting on the fence and thinking, I keep hearing that ad run, and I do want to do that, the clock is ticking, and this is not a high pressure thing that the Chronometer needs to move to the next phase of their marketing in the United States. And this offer to my audience is stopping things from happening. So about 30 days to today is July 8th. 30 days from now, you probably won't be able to get this offer anymore. So again, seeds.md/epigenetic-test/ for 70% off. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about methylation for a second. What I do know about science is this: what we think we know often turns out not to be what we know. So right now we think that methylation, DNA methylation, is everything when it comes to changing that blueprint that leads to the onset of diseases. Is it? Is there any evidence that there's any unknown areas?
Yeah, obviously the reason why, we started and decided to choose DNA methylation as the place that we wanted to look at for data to build these different predictors for your health. It's in form of part of the work that we did during our PhDs at the University of Cambridge, but also following on from there. And just to be clear, we have a bioinformatics background, which means that we're very unbiased about the data types that we use, right? If we had seen that, with blood biomarkers, we could get to the same place, we would have chosen that first instead of DNA methylation, right? And obviously, the more data that you have is always the better. But our thinking is that to measure these important risk factors for disease, such as the aging process, it is clear that DNA methylation is the best data type to date to ask these questions. And the reason for that is very simple, and is that, if you look at the hierarchy of the cell, we go from your genetic information, which is in your DNA, then the epigenetic layer of information, such as DNA methylation. Then this gets, produces like the expression of your genes, which is known as RNA, and then that goes to proteins, which start to carry out functions, and then that goes to potentially metabolites like cholesterol, for example. So if you only measure at the top of the hierarchy, the DNA, that's static if you only look at the genetic information. But the next layer of information that is controlling what is below all of that, and that is controlling and integrating the effects of genetics and environment, is that epigenetic layer of information. So that's the reason why it captures so well these very complex processes that are happening in our cells and tissues. And it's not only that theoretically that's the case, it's that there are now thousands of studies that have shown in large human populations that, this is the best way to quantify things such as the aging process and how different lifestyle environmental factors are shaping our health over time. So I guess that's the reason why we get so excited about, what DNA methylation can do and what it will also be able to do in the next months and years.
Dr. Seeds, so is this technology reliable enough to predict or project a person's lifespan? If things are affected by epigenetics, then we're still looking at a snapshot in time of your world interacting with you. That could change, and that would change the trajectory of the balance of your lifespan, would it not?
Yes, and it is. That's where this is going. That's the accuracy of this is, I think, what is the most intriguing part of being able to put a lot of factors together, because as we know, it takes a lot of there's a lot of players that make something happen. It's like teamwork. A cell works because of a team of an orchestra, not a single instrument. The more we have input from all of those pieces of the orchestra in looking at what's going to come out as the music per se, we can predict, based on that, we can predict where that care is going to go with how we change each instrument, or how we change the pitch of an instrument, or how we change the input into the instrument. I mean, those are precision type of aspects of looking at medicine that we've never had before. And when you can do that and see an outcome of a cell, but can also predict that when it's a predictable outcome based on those changes because of all the data you have, that's the future, Carl. That is the future. And there's no doubt in my mind that's where we are going. And that's what makes this so exciting, because we deserve to be there, because now we have that ability to gather this type of information.
So really, where other tests are designed or are used, maybe inappropriately, to take a snapshot in time, not of how your body is reacting to your environment, but instead these non sequitur bits of information that don't come together and play nicely to make any kind of predictions. The epigenetic test, it sounds like, will evolve to be something that people do a few times a year to make sure that they're not introducing things that they didn't use before that are affecting their epigenome, or that the desired effects of their current lifestyle are working out predictably. So where does the concept of human lifespan come into this discussion? Do you think that epigenetic testing on a regular basis could actually change our opinion of what we think the human lifespan is? I mean, right now it's pretty agreed by everybody with any sensibility that's about 120 years. And even with that, we lost Dr. Seeds. I don't know what happened. He disconnected for a second. Okay. Even with that, even with the 120 years, it's really not hard and true, because very few people actually live to be 120 years old. We think that that's the most because most people die at 117. Will epigenetic testing give us guided lifestyle information that actually will change our opinion of what the human lifespan is?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great question, Carl, and it goes to the core of what all of this is about, right? I think first it's important to make the distinction between lifespan and health span, right? So lifespan is the maximum amount of time that you live, basically, but no one wants to live 20 years more with a horrible chronic disease, right? So what we really want to push is health span, which is the time that we are free of disease. And there's some relation between those two. So sometimes, people that live really long, like super centenarians or centenarians, tend to develop this, diseases later in life. But again, it's still under study. But the key thing here is that, we need a reliable way to tell us if, the different changes that we are doing to our lifestyle, our environment, the supplements that we're taking, potentially some drugs, whether that is really putting us into the right track. And to be able to do that, you need a reliable way to measure things such as the aging process. So your age-associated risk, your risk of all-cause mortality. And, these are things that until a few years ago were completely impossible to measure accurately in humans. So this is a very new technology. And, now it's got to the point where we can actually do exactly what you said. We have enough temporal resolution for people to go and take specific interventions and measure themselves before they take that intervention, and then after that intervention, and objectively at the molecular level determine whether they have managed to slow down the rate at which they are aging, or even potentially reverse it. So, it's very exciting times, because for the first times we have actually the tools to answer this, and you don't need to wait until people develop diseases later on, or you don't need to wait until they die. You can tell today where they are heading in terms of their aging process and other complex risk factors and act on them. And that's really the exciting thing about, I think, epigenetic testing.
If budget was not an issue, how frequently should someone test their epigenetics to see, like, how long does it take for the changes in lifestyle to actually show up? So is it twice a year? Is it 4 times a year? What do you think?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, we have epigenetic changes that happen even in a circadian manner. So, depending on the time of the day that we are in, you have changes in your epigenetic profile as well. But most of the changes, at least to what we know nowadays, that are important for your health in the medium and long term, which is what this is really about, they will happen in the order of months towards a year. So, for example, things such as the aging process, for most of the interventions that people will do, testing twice a year or once a year is normally, what we recommend, because before that it's difficult to have a huge impact on your biological age. But things such as your metabolic risk or your exposure to these different toxins, etc., there you can see changes much faster. And the exciting thing is that now you have an objective way to quantify these things. So it really depends on what's the goal of your interventions and how much you stick to them and what they are. But yeah, we envision that people will be, people are already doing this already every few months, and maybe one day we do it, every day from our homes. So yeah, I think it's very exciting to see where all this develops as well.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we got lots more to talk about. We're discussing the epigenetic test emergence in science and what it actually potentially could mean for all of us. I'm very interested in this because I want to live longer. I'm waiting for my results to come back. It takes a long time. This is not like the 23andMe test. This takes some time. They're testing 20 million different, or 20 million plus different points of your DNA. And it's a saliva test, which means that you don't have to go bleed somewhere. You don't have to make yourself bleed at home. It's just ultra simple. So let's do this. We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll tell you how you can take advantage of this unbelievable 70% off for a limited time. Stay tuned. Whether your goal is to build muscle or burn fat, you'll find everything you need at Redcon One. Need help getting a good night's sleep? Try Fade Out, or the most popular pre-workout supplement on the market today, Total War. Sign up for their new Transformation Challenge and win $10,000, or shop for apparel that people at the gym will know that you are serious about your training. Need a testosterone booster that works? Check out Boomstick. Whatever you need, you'll find the best quality supplements on the market at Redcon One. Go to redcon1.com. That's REDCON, 1.com, or go to superhumanradio.net and click the Redcon One banner ad today. If there is one mineral you should be worried about not getting enough of, it's magnesium. Magnesium is the body's master mineral, powering over 300 critical reactions, including detoxification, fat metabolism, energy, and even digestion is influenced by the presence of magnesium. That's why I'm so excited to tell you about a new magnesium product I've been taking now called Magnesium Breakthrough. It's the ultimate magnesium supplement, easily the best I've ever seen or experienced. With all 7 forms of magnesium, I was able to arrange an amazing deal for my audience, and I guarantee it's the best deal available on this product. Seriously, with volume discounts combined with our custom 10% coupon code SHR10, you can save up to 40% off select packages of Magnesium Breakthrough. And I promise that this deal is only available on this specific website, magbreakthrough.com/SHR. You won't find that deal on Amazon or even on the company's own website. Go to magbreakthrough.com/SHR and use code SHR10 to save up to 40% off select packages of Magnesium Breakthrough. Select Savory Snacks Original Biltong is the healthier alternative to sugar-laden beef jerky. Their sugar-free biltong is seasoned and then air-dried for up to 2 weeks, providing you with one of the most tender and flavorful meat snacks that you've ever had. They also use a fattier cut of beef, which adds to the tenderness and gives their biltong even better flavor. Select Savory Snacks Original Biltong is the perfect snack or travel companion for your busy life. Get a free bottle of Ranch-tastic seasoning with every order. Free shipping on orders of $99 or more. Get yours today today at selectsavourysnacks.com/SHR.
Unlock your potential with the best cognitive enhancement and anti-aging supplements on the market. PureNootropics.net goes the extra mile for the highest quality ingredients, third-party tested to make sure you only receive the best your money can buy. There's no better choice with their money-back guarantee and free shipping. Try their best-selling DHM. Dihydromyricetin prevents hangovers and helps deliver detox after a night of drinking. Get your DHM and other nootropics and longevity supplements from PureNootropics.net, the purest supplements around.
Hey, this is Carl. For 14 years, you've heard me talk about Can-C eye drops, and they being the reason that I do not need reading glasses at now 61 years old. But I regularly get emails and messages from people who've been using Can-C and having some amazing results. Recently, I got an email from a fellow named Chad, who, because he was on dexamethasone eye drops for over 6 months, developed a cataract. Can-C eye drops actually reduced my cataract to the point where even my doctor has a hard time finding it. I will never stop using Can-C eye drops twice a day. I've been using them since 2008, he says. And you should be too. There is no better way to keep your eyes healthy and seeing clearly than Can-C eye drops. Go to wisechoicemedicine.com today and get on board, and we will both be looking into the future with very clear vision. Imagine if you had a digital twin, one that you could compare your own health and fitness outcomes to, one that showed you whether or not the things you're doing, food you're eating, or drinks you're drinking are actually working for you or against you. Well, now you can. The first ever advanced epigenetic saliva test that compares 20 million different data points of your DNA to help predict what is aging you faster or keeping you younger is being introduced to my audience at a 70% discount from the normal price. Go to seeds.md/epigenetic-test today to learn how to get your own digital twin that will help you take the steps to live longer and stay stronger. Don't wait, because this is a limited time offer not available anywhere else. Once these tests are gone, they're gone. Again, go to seeds.md/epigenetic-test today to learn more.
Move over, superheroes. This is the Superhuman Channel.
Welcome back to Superhuman Radio. For those of you watching live or listening live or whatever, the place to go if you want to take advantage of this, and this is the last time I'm going to give it during this show, if you want to gauge your own chronological age against your biological age, if you go to the website, seeds.md/epigenetic-test, you'll save 70% off of this test for limited time. This is it. We're pulling the plug on this most likely before the or by the this time next month. So today is July 8th. And a lot of people have already taken advantage of it. And I have, and I'm eagerly waiting to see not only where I am now, but the targets of change that I will be focusing on, because most of us approach our health in a willy-nilly fashion. We try this, we read an article, and then we try that, and we read this and we try this, or we remove that, and we never know what's really working and what's not. So just having that information of the things that erode your health versus the things that build your health, that's like invaluable. That's so much wonderful information. So we have a couple things here. Let's see here. So Brett also has a question. We'll put it up here. He says, can tests predict mental illness, which accounts for a decent percentage of the population? What do you think, Dr. Danny?
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic question. I think, there are many studies now pointing more and more towards the fact that, obviously epigenetics may play a role in different mental illnesses and diseases. And as Brett correctly mentions, it's becoming unfortunately more and more common in our populations. And what we do at the moment is to quantify risk factors for mental illnesses, right? So one of the areas that we're really interested in is, for example, in quantifying stress. And we know that things like stress and anxiety really have a huge impact, for example, in your risk of developing things like depression. So we are developing those capabilities with epigenetic testing, and we hope to make them available very soon to our users. And I think the key take-home message here, just going back to what we spoke before, is the fact that because of the data that we are capturing for you right now, even in a few years' time, you will be able to go back and look at that data and get many more insights from them. So as we, for example, discover new signatures that are associated with specific, mental illnesses, you would be able to
compare that data to yours. Yeah, overlay that onto yours. Dr. Seeds, are you using epigenetics now in the instances of people who develop osteoarthritis or other types of musculoskeletal issues that you treat in your practice? Are you starting to see connecting the dots of any epigenetic causes and things like that?
Well, that's where I'm involved on the research side. That's where this is going right now. So those are the type of studies that we're looking at, in particular to osteopenia, osteoporosis, degenerative disease, and from there other type of repair scenarios with tendon ligament issues. So we're in the process of actually setting all those studies up presently to manifest and show how powerful these markers are, so we can start validating. I mean, the key to this is really in validating the therapies we have to treat disease and injury. This is the validation for all of that. And that's where the power of this lies, because we can definitively go in and for instance, I've always been again, this is just my opinion, but I've always been one of the opinion that people take way too many supplements and antioxidants, and they don't realize that there are finite times to take those, and that taking them every day for an entire year is not in their best interest, because it works against the cell, actually, because you need that signaling. You need oxidant signaling to make things happen. So all of this type of testing that we're describing is going to change the landscape of how everybody looks at this. It will completely change it, because it's predictable and reproducible and shows you definitively treatment protocols and the changes they make. I mean, I can't tell you how exciting that is to be involved in that, and to know where we're heading in looking at that, and being able to take away so many of these myths that I think are out there in regenerative medicine and in the health world, that we can totally nullify in no time. And I think that's the power of this process.
So just to maybe add a quick comment to that.
Please.
I think, and it's very clear when you explain this, for example, in terms of diseases, right? So when people get diagnosed a disease, they get given a treatment, and there are objective ways to quantify and see whether that treatment is working or not. But surprisingly enough, we don't have that many ways of doing this before you develop disease. So we don't have many ways to quantify pre-disease or health states. And before we get to the point where we develop a cancer or type 2 diabetes, have objective markers that will tell us, okay, this new treatment that you're doing, or this new lifestyle intervention, or potentially a new supplement. Even Dr. Seeds doesn't think they work that well. I mean, I agree. I'm from that side of things, of maybe keeping it well researched and under control, rather than taking everything that is out there. But the key thing about this is that you can objectively determine if it's working for you, right? And it might well be true that some of those things work for other people, but not for you particularly. And now you have a way to see if that's the case, instead of just relying on population-based advice.
Right. And I'm a firm believer now, at this stage of my life, that it's not what you introduce, but what you remove from your environment, your food, your supplements, your life, that has the greatest impact on you being healthy and strong. And so, I mean, I know it's true. We see people with autoimmunity. They take drugs, nothing happens. And all of a sudden they remove this one thing from their diet, and their ulcerative colitis just goes away in 4 months. It's like, wait a minute. So, Ron Penna is the one who taught me this. Health is about subtracting, not adding when you come to that knowledge. So what are the areas of the unknown and blind spots that may provide some of the greatest breakthroughs? I think, Dr. Seeds, you kind of indicated this on a wide scale, but when you look at data, you're seeing emerging trends in our population. What do you see in the future that people would be surprised that epigenetic testing will actually have a great role in correcting specific disease states? Danny.
Yeah, so I think there are many areas that are unfolding as we speak in epigenetics research, and at Chronomics we really are being part of that revolution and pushing the boundaries of what we can get from epigenetic data. And I think before we discuss, I think one of the areas that, in my opinion, is super interesting, which is mental health. And I think we know very little about mental health. Most of the biomarkers that we have are not molecular, so they don't quantify specific molecules or things in your cells. They are based on questionnaires, or if you get a bit fancier, maybe in some cases MRI. But most of the tools that we have are, we can improve them. And I think epigenetics, because of the nature of the data, I think it will help in that revolution.
Mental health.
And I think,
mental health.
Yeah. And I think, besides that, obviously we've discussed all the things that it can do in preventative healthcare. But I think another key thing is how we start to integrate this data as well with other types of data, right? And how these different parts of the puzzle come together, and how we quantify them over time, and how we derive actionable insights from them. And that's very much the vision that is behind Chronomics, and it's even forged in the name of the company itself.
Dr. Seeds, fibromyalgia is a big problem today, as is Lyme disease. Do you think that epigenetic testing may give us insights into maybe not ways to cure it, but to stop it from progressing?
Well, absolutely. Just as I said, in treatment modalities of, I think this is going to get, as Danny knows, there are papers out there that are looking at that are getting so specific that we can look at the epigenome of just a stem cell and what a stem cell can do, and how a stem cell changes. And the stem cell is all about repairing injury, whether it's the brain, whether it's the heart. It's an indicator of where the body is in age, in repair, in basically everything, and how it rejuvenates and how it repopulates. So getting that type of data and understanding what the epigenome is of a stem cell, everything's gonna fall into place, in my opinion, when that happens, because then you really can look at what Danny was just talking about, the brain in health, because we know that stem cells are very important in repopulation and continuing the neuroplasticity of the brain.
Right.
And yeah, it's absolute. And in the diseases you've just described, there is an inherent problem with stem cell repair in any autoimmune disease or any environmental problem.
And so that see what you just said. So this is where the rubber meets the road. There's a large number of doctors out there telling their fibro patients that this is not an autoimmune disorder. And then there are a large number of physicians telling their patients that this is an autoimmune disorder. And I kind of feel like epigenetic testing would put that argument to the rest, because once you looked at this person's epigenome and you realize what is going wrong with them on a core level, on a cellular level, then by removing certain bad actors that we already know cause some of these downstream effects from their diet, we should see them get better. And if they do, then we can stop this debate whether or not fibromyalgia is a autoimmune disorder or not. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a debate. I mean, we know the autoimmune system's intricately involved in any disorder. I mean, that's the bottom line. You name the disease and I'll show you the autoimmune problem.
Right.
It's there. And we have the genetic markers for that also in the dysfunction of a specific type of cell signaling or receptor. So I don't know about, I would say that then those people they're not on the cutting edge of where research is right now, because the epigenome is about this, and it's about everything in repair.
Right. I want to take our last commercial break in this interview. Then later on in the show, I have some things I want to talk about too. But we're going to take one commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Planet Earth CBD offers a fast-acting transdermal patch that targets your aches and pains for the relief you need. Not only is the patch uniquely patented, but it is widely believed to provide larger quantities of available cannabinoids to the source of pain than other brands' subpar products. Effective for 24 to 48 hours, experience the benefits of Planet Earth's high-quality transdermal patch. Manufactured by Next Generation Technology in an FDA-registered facility, this pressure-sensitive adhesive delivers rich hemp extract directly through the skin. Be it a neck ache or a headache, you can count on CBD to take off the edge. Go to planetearthcbd.com today to learn more.
Do you remember those delicious toaster pastries you had when you were a kid? You know, the rectangular sugar-filled snacks? Well, guess what? Legendary Foods has just made low-carb toaster pastry. This is the first of its kind, and honestly, these things are amazing. They have 3 to 4 net carb, less than 1 gram of sugar, and 9 grams of protein. You can eat them right out of the wrapper or lightly toast them. The only question is, which flavor? Strawberry or brown sugar cinnamon? They're available at eatlegendary.com and Amazon. You've heard about blood flow restriction training since 2006 on SHR, but you're still on the fence. Well, here's the push. BFR is more effective at building muscle than anabolic steroids. That's right, I went there, but it's because it's the truth. My experience with the Be Strong blood flow restriction system is proof to me, and now I'm asking myself why I waited so long. You'll see undeniable changes in the targeted muscles in days and weeks like nothing you've ever tried before. I will never stop using them. Give Be Strong a try. Go to bestrong.training/super-human and use code SHR for 10% off. You've heard me talk about the chill pill on the show and how effective it is at helping people who suffer from social anxiety, or sometimes when you just want to take the edge off to a long, stressful day. Well, listen to this story from Dylan Goutreau.
Definitely takes anxiety away, which I have a long history of having. Started out at 2 milligrams a day of Xanax. That was at 8 years old. And so I stopped using benzos 3 years ago. Extremely difficult. Yeah, so I spent about 3 years trying to find anything and everything I could that would be healthy for me to help with anxiety. Because I'm talking, full out panic attack. The chill pill was the first thing that I found that actually in the middle of a panic attack I can take, and it definitely subsides.
Go to drseeds.com. That's DRSEEDS.com. Use coupon code SHR and save 20% off your first bottle of the chill pill. Check it out. I promise this is one supplement that delivers.
Quest Nutrition makes bars, cookies, chips, and pizzas out of complete dairy-based proteins. Our products minimize net carbs and sugar without sacrificing taste. Each delicious chocolate-flavored chip, cookie chunk, and crunchy crumble is custom made to maintain Quest macros. It's time to enjoy foods that work for you, not against you. It's time to enjoy your Quest.
Select Savory Snacks Original Biltong is the healthier alternative to sugar-laden beef jerky. Their sugar-free biltong is seasoned and then air-dried for up to 2 weeks, providing you with one of the most tender and flavorful meat snacks that you've ever had. They also use a fattier cut of beef, which adds to the tenderness and gives their biltong even better flavor. Select Savory Snacks Original Biltong is the perfect snack or travel companion for your busy life. Get a free bottle of Ranch-tastic seasoning with every order. Free shipping on orders of $99 or more. Get yours today at selectsavorysnacks.com/SHR.
This is the Superhuman Channel. Evolution just got kicked up a notch.
Welcome back. If you haven't heard already, you can get one of these epigenetic tests at literally 70% off. You'll see that if you go to the website. If you go to seeds.md/epigenetic-test and add the last / just to be on the safe side, you can order the test. They're shipped here from the UK. The test is very simple. It's a saliva test. And this is a big deal to me because I remember when I used to do the ZRT blood test, you know, I didn't want to prick my finger. Who the hell wants to bleed? I mean, bleeding isn't something that we all look forward to doing. And we, even worse than that, if you have to literally go to a lab in your neighborhood to give blood for a test, that's not convenient at all. The thing that I really love, I mean, the idea that this test is next generation, so far advanced as opposed to anything else out there, but the fact that it's a saliva test, it's like there's no. I mean, it's so easy to get involved. You order the test, you spit in the vial, you send it out, bam, it's all done. And the valuable information that you get could actually help you target disease reversal. And most likely, I'm hoping it does. So I got a question from a listener who wants to remain anonymous. Can the Chronomics data be used to create genealogy profiles?
Yeah, so genealogy profiles are normally done using more genetic information. So that's not something that we focus a lot of time on. But having said that, the raw data that we are capturing contains both genetic and epigenetic information. So theoretically, it would be possible if some of the Chronomics users want to access the raw data, they can download it, and then I'm sure there will be some people out there that might be able to do that with that raw data as well.
Dr. Seeds, if someone has this done, do they get a lot of the same data they would get from 23andMe as well, on top of the fact that they're getting an epigenome test as well?
No, this is really based more on the epigenome and specifically how it's influencing the biological age. It's specific to that and to the other factors of what's being looked at, like how exercise influences, how alcohol influences, how does the environment, like smoking, influence, and again this the next step of stress, and how does that affect the epigenome. So it's really, the epigenome again is something that's separate from the genome. The genome is, so we've learned, that we started looking at the genome and we thought, we were of the impression that by understanding the genome, then we would be able to influence disease and how to treat it. And we quickly learned that that's not the case. And unless you have one of those rare inheritable type of diseases,
right,
that then you're better equipped, to go after. But that's very, very few. It's a very low percentage when you look at the general population of what is the real good of this information. How valuable can it be for you? And my opinion of that is that it's not the genome, it's the epigenome, because that's what influences the changes in the cell that can take place. So that's my short answer for that.
Yeah. Do you think that epigenetic testing will ever give insights into the ability to lose body fat or build muscle, Daniel?
Yeah, I think
that's an area he's interested in as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, so obviously we already measure some aspects of this. So we, as part of the epigenetic test that we do, we have what we call the metabolic status epigenetic indicator or biomarker. And what this does is that it measures metabolic risk. And obviously metabolism is something that is quite complex. It has to do with, for example, adiposity levels, but also with how your insulin is being regulated, whether you're developing insulin resistance or not, or even like how your immune system is working. Are you developing inflammation because you've been, for example, obese for a long time? And these are all factors that contribute to, diseases like type 2 diabetes or metabolic syndrome. So as part of that, this metabolic status indicator is able to provide with a very holistic view on your metabolism. And therefore, it's currently being used, for example, to assess whether specific weight loss interventions or specific metabolic programs are working to improve the health of people. And if you're familiar with, like, for example, weight loss programs, this JoJo effect is something which is pretty common, which is like people lose weight, but then the metabolism takes a bit to catch up with that, right? So the metabolic status indicator picks up better the state of metabolism rather than something that is only looking at a very specific aspect of it, which would be your weight.
Dr. Seeds, what do you think about anabolism? What do you think? Can someone who's trying to build muscle by understanding their epigenome have greater success in building muscle?
Absolutely. And I think that's a great, we know about responders and non-responders and how people reach plateaus that you're very familiar with, Carl, in different types of training methods. And this is where I think from that side of it, of the physical culture, as you want to call it, that is going to be tremendously valuable information in how we look at how high intensity aerobics influences pre-training before resistance training.
Right.
It's all these questions that I'm just dying to answer, where I get into these debates about, does HIT upregulate that stem cell? So when you do your resistance training, it is smarter to do it right after your HIT, as opposed to people who do HIT after, their strength training, all of those issues that we're so familiar with. Oh my gosh, Carl, it's going to be amazing of, where we can go and start defining the type of, we'll be looking at this. I can't even imagine actually where it'll be, but I know we'll be looking at how we train in a totally different fashion. And it's going to be, when you have that type of information, it's even more of an incentive to change, right? It's even more of
yes, the reason people don't have success is they're doing something and they're really not sure if it's what they should be doing. And then if they don't see outward changes quickly, they hop to something else or they abandon this. And if you knew you are it's the difference between leaving here and going to California without a map, or leaving here and going to California with the map. Without a map, you're not sure if you're really going in the right direction. So you're kind of half-hearted trudging along. But if you knew that this is absolutely the right way, you go right to it, and you live with whatever the experiences are in the journey, because ultimately you're going the right way. Yeah.
Well, and how many how many different programs are there out there, for instance, to improve your bench press? Probably hundreds, right?
Right.
And probably every one of them has some valid aspect of what it can do to improve your bench press.
Right.
I think what we're going to have is something that's going to give us a more concrete way of looking at timing of where some of these things may fit in the best, for that particular time in life, with all of the environmental stressors. I mean, this is what it's hard for people to comprehend, but you're putting together a tremendous amount of data to make predictions. And that's what's so exciting, because it's if you can think it right now in what we're talking about, I know people have to be sitting there going, well, maybe it could do this. And I'm going to say, yes, it can. I'm going to say, yes, it can, because it's going to give us that kind of information. It already is giving us that information. And this is why you and I, Carl, have to hang around for a while to take advantage of all this information, right?
Oh, I know. Matter of fact, when I come back from the break, I'm going to tell everybody I just started working with a fella named Bill Taco, who trains. He does the diets for all a lot of pros, IFBB pros. And I had to send them pictures this morning. And I looked at myself and I was so disheartened to see how far off the path I've gotten. Now, I'm waiting for my Chronometer test to come back. I'm going to be instituting some changes. So I'll have my test done again, maybe in 6 months. And I'll look at my progress against what I learned from what I did at Chronomics. But I want to talk about that. I kind of gave the cat out of the bag for everybody who wants to sit through this. But my pictures this morning, I almost didn't send them. And I know how people feel. And that's what I want to talk about. If you feel like you're in a place where you can't get out of, it's not true. You can still get out of it. All right, look, the website is seeds.md/epigenetic-test/ If you want to take advantage of this, it's going to be good for a month. So today is July 8th. So by the time August 10th rolls around, these won't be lasted. They won't be there. So if you want to do this, you better do it soon. Because after this, the only way you get to do it is to go to a doctor and have him sell you the test. So this is a really, really unique opportunity that has never been done before. This offer direct to the public. So check it out. Daniel, thank you for being here. Dr. Seeds, thanks for scrubbing up and getting the blood off of you before coming on the camera today.
Thanks so much, Cal, for having me.
I told Sean to have him bring a femur in with him. All right. Good to see you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye.
See you. Great to see you, Carl.
Stay healthy.
And we're going to take one quick
All right.
commercial break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Are you still on the fence about Body Protection Complex BPC Oral from drseeds.com? Listen to Maggie Kuhn, one of the owners of the C-Bus Lifting Company gym in Columbus, Ohio.
I had been having some nagging tendon issues that weren't injuries, just things that were annoying. You know, I'm 58 years old, so just older tendon kind of issues. For us powerlifters, you know, we really don't stop training when we have just nagging issues. We just kind of keep pushing through. And I started the BPC. What I noticed was I was doing some heavy tricep stuff that would have killed me before when I had an elbow problem, and I was able to do this with literally no pain at all.
Go to drseeds.com, drseeds.com. Use coupon code SHR and save 20% off your bottle of BPC Body Protection Complex today.
New Mass Pro Synthogen X2 just upped its own legendary game. To distance itself even further from the rest of the pack, Synthogen X2 now has double the key active ingredients. If you've ever wondered what steroid-like recovery feels like, Synthogen X2 delivers. See why others compare it favorably to powerful bodybuilding drugs at synthogen.com. Mass Pro Synthogen. When you train with it, you'll gain with it.
I love beef. And if you love beef, listen up. I've discovered the best tasting beef in the world, and that's not an exaggeration, at Piedmontese.com. The Piedmontese breed is famous from Italy for being lean and unbelievably tender with half the fat and calories of traditional beef. Even typically tough cuts are tender when it comes from the Piedmontese cows. And for the first time ever, Piedmontese cows are being raised here in the USA. Get 2 free 10-ounce New York strips when you purchase $50 or more at Piedmontese.com with code SHR. Go to PIEDMONTESE.com and use code SHR today. You will never eat any other type of beef ever again.
Unlock your potential with the best cognitive enhancement and anti-aging supplements on the market. PureNootropics.net goes the extra mile for the highest quality ingredients, third-party tested to make sure you only receive the best your money can buy. There's no better choice with their money-back guarantee and free shipping. Try their best-selling DHM. Dihydromyricetin prevents hangovers and helps deliver detox after a night of drinking. Get your DHM and other nootropics and longevity supplements from PureNootropics.net, the purest supplements around.
Select Savory Snacks Original Biltong is the healthier alternative to sugar-laden beef jerky. Their sugar-free biltong is seasoned and then air-dried for up to 2 weeks, providing you with one of the most tender and flavorful meat snacks that you've ever had. They also use a fattier cut of beef, which adds to the tenderness and gives their biltong even better flavor. Select Savory Snacks Original Biltong is the perfect snack or travel companion for your busy life. Get a free bottle of Ranch-tastic seasoning with every order. Free shipping on orders of $99 or more. Get yours today at SelectSavorySnacks.com/SHR. Imagine if you had a digital twin, one that you could compare your own health and fitness outcomes to, one that showed you whether or not the things you're doing, food you're eating, or drinks you're drinking are actually working for you or against you. Well, now you can. The first ever advanced epigenetic saliva test that compares 20 million different data points of your DNA to help predict what is aging you faster or keeping you younger is being introduced to my audience at a 70% discount from the normal price. Go to seeds.md/epigenetic-test today to learn how to get your own digital twin that will help you take the steps to live longer and stay stronger. Don't wait, because this is a limited time offer not available anywhere else. Once these tests are gone, they're gone. Again, go to seeds.md/epigenetic-test today to learn more.
This is the Superhuman Channel, where brawn and brains finally meet.
Welcome back. So I am officially taking control of both my health and my strength and fitness. And I really have, I've just been meandering. I train for 4 or 5 months in a row. I do a good job. I start seeing progress. I go off the deep end. I start drinking a lot on the weekends. I start living a life that isn't really the best for me. I abuse caffeine. I'm doing all these things that I know that are not in my own best interest. The fact that I am not sicker surprises me, to be honest with you. Okay. But I have my challenges. And so I'm working with a fellow named Bill Taco. He's known as War Room Nutrition. He's a wonderful human being. Everybody he works with looks amazing. The guy knows what he's doing. He was introduced to me by Scott McNally. Thank you, Scott. And so the deal was, we talked yesterday. I says, okay, I'm ready to get serious. I'm going to ease into this. So one of my big problems is that I'm still very strong, but I have no conditioning. I don't think I could jog a half mile right now. I mean, I could walk a mile, no problem, but I couldn't jog it. And that not being able to jog it is because of several reasons. It's not just my conditioning. It's the fact that my left leg is like a pirate's peg leg after the surgeries that I had. That can be changed. But right now, this is where I'm starting from. And I have the same neurological disorder that I've shared with all of you over the years that listen to the show that really killed my sister. But what killed her wasn't the disease. It was the way she was treated. She was treated for Parkinson's disease. She was given inappropriate drugs that wrecked her. She had deep brain implants for stimulation, didn't do anything because she never had Parkinson's disease. Okay. So the fact that I'm not using any of those drugs is part of the reason why I am faring better than she did. But I have the same thing. And it's definitely, there's no doubt in my mind that's autoimmune in nature. I think caffeine has something to do with it. I got to be honest with you, because like right now I'm back up to 600 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous or more a day. 2 Bang energy drinks in the morning, or a Total War and a Bang later on in the day. And it's just, I have this addictive personality. I've known about it since I was a young man. I never injected heroin, but I snorted a lot of heroin and I snorted a lot of cocaine and I did a lot of drugs all growing up. I've been self-medicating myself for some reason, for a long time. Well, caffeine has just become one of those drugs. I abuse it. I've been abusing it for years. I can go back to 2002. I was doing a gram of caffeine anhydrous, 600 milligrams before going into the gym and training, 300 milligrams after training. Why I haven't had a stroke or a heart attack yet just is a testament to my constitution, to be honest with you. But it's got me again. Caffeine has me again, and I know it's no good. And so I have to take my health seriously now. I'm 62 years old, and I run the risk of really developing some serious problems. And hopefully I haven't developed them already. I talked about allostatic load the other day and allostasis. If you caught the show last week or so ago, where I finished up the show with the discussion about allostatic load and allostasis, I'm managing a lot of things right now. I'm managing nerve issues in my lower body that have not only caused me to lose pretty much all the lower body muscle that I've held for so long, but make it hard for me, increasingly harder for me to do simple things. Some days walking is a challenge. And on top of that, I have the lack of fitness that has occurred from my lack of training consistently and my lack of doing things that are good for me or eliminating things that are bad. So I made the decision to do this. I'm announcing it too, right? Because now I can't turn back. That's another thing, right? I'm not going to be able to say this and then not do something about it. And I'm working with Bill Taco, and he's going to get my nutrition straightened out. We've even talked about training, but I think I have the training part down, and I'm sensible about my training. Like I said before, I'm still really strong, but I'm not fit, which puts me at a very rare risk of hurting myself, of tearing something or injuring myself. So I'm really starting out really low. Like the bar is very low. My goal right now for the first month is to literally show up to the gym every day I'm supposed to and train whatever it is that I've decided I'm going to do that day. And I'm not going to be doing anything heavy. I'm going to do predominantly machine movements and I'm going to start doing cardio again. Yesterday I got up in the morning and did cardio. Today when you live with chronic pain, jumping out of bed and running downstairs and getting on the treadmill or the Airdyne bike just isn't exciting. It's not like we used to be. I would wake up in the morning, I would throw my sneakers on and my gym clothes on. I'd run out. When I lived in the apartment, when I was going through my divorce, I'd go to the little gym room they had there, walk through the freezing cold in the middle of winter, and get on the treadmill or get on the elliptical and turn on the TV, watch MTV, and I would do my 45 minutes, hour of fasted cardio consistently, religiously, every single morning for years. And I exploited all of that health equity that I had from doing that for it took me a decade to go from 330 fat, heartbroken, disgusting pounds to my 50th birthday, where I was lean and muscular and felt amazing and had a great outlook on life and had no pain. I lived with no chronic pain. Now, can I reverse it completely? I don't know. I have some tricks up my sleeve. I have the knowledge of peptides. I'm getting ready to start a 28-day round of ARA 290 or sabinitide. I am absolutely cutting the caffeine down. I can't just stop. Even Bill Taco said to me, so what are you going to do to wean yourself off? Like it was a given. You can't just stop when you are addicted to caffeine to this level of consumption. And so Aaron Singerman has been kind enough to send me a case of Total War, and I'm going to drink only one a day in the morning. And I'm going to do that for probably the better part of a week or so. And then I'm going to cut it down to a half a bottle a day. I'm going to do that for the better part of a week or so. And then I'm going to cut that down to a third. And then eventually I'm going to wean it off. But Bill said, okay, so here's what I need from you. He says, I need your pictures. I want them to be taken with the flash on. I don't want you to take advantage of the light to make you look better. I want to see your body, everything, so I can really see where the fat is and all that sort of stuff. And last night when I talked to him, I was like, yeah, no big deal. So this morning I got up, I weighed myself. I'm 228 pounds right now. And I've lost 10 pounds. It's all lower body. It's my glutes. My glutes are gone. I have no ass at all anymore. My hamstrings and my quads have shrunken. My left calf looks like a piece of wood because it's shrunken so much from the 2 surgeries. So I look like Frankenstein. I looked at my body this morning. I almost didn't send the pictures. I almost said, oh, F this. You know what? I don't need to be, I'll train myself. I'll do my own diet. I'll just do, and obviously that doesn't work because I've been doing that for the past 10 years and sliding down this hill slowly, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And I almost didn't want to send them. And Elisa says, just send it. You're not going to look like that forever. That's the goal. And I was like, okay. And I sent them to him and I looked at them and I am so sad. I can't tell you how sad I am when I see what I've let my body become just by not tending to it. And, and the older you get, the harder it is to keep it. That's true. And I was doing 2 steps forward, 1 step back always. And it's really, I look at myself now and I go, oh my God, like, can I even turn this around? And so I sent the pictures to Bill and he was just, he's just such a kind, decent guy. He's not going to say, holy crap, you hit the wall hard. My belly is bloated. I got to start hanging again because my spine looks like it's getting a little crooked. I've got fat around my back at the lower part of my back where my ass used to be. And I don't even have an ass now. I got the peg leg on the left-hand side with a foot that looks like it's 1.5 inches shorter than it used to be and looks like a claw. I mean, I'm a wreck, but I'm being positive. Bill said, boy, this is going to be such an exciting time for you. And I kind of feel like, well, he tells everybody that. Otherwise they just back out. They go, you know what, forget about it. I don't want to do this after all. I don't want to admit to myself what I look like right now. It's clear that I have a lot of muscle. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I look like a friggin' gorilla. I really do. My stomach is somewhat distended. I really believe the caffeine has been contributing a lot to that. And we will see. I'm going to get my epigenetic test back, and I'm working with Joel Green a little bit too. I look like a friggin' gorilla. I really do. It's just sad. And this is going to be a really long an arduous journey for me, because when I did this the first time, when I was in my 40s, I had the energy and I didn't have the pain and I didn't have anything that was broken already. And it's now motivating myself to get up and get downstairs on the treadmill first thing in the morning is like ridiculously. I this morning I just said to myself, "Oh, F it, man, just let's go." And like I thought to myself, okay, so I feel like crap. I have pain that I need to walk for a while for it to go away. I'll just get on the treadmill and walk for a while. And that's what I did. And then I had my protein drink, and within an hour I was at the gym and I did my training session and exactly what I was supposed to do. Nothing heavy, just show up, be there, be cognizant of what the task is. And I did it. And now it's one day at a time. It's one day at a time. But I feel anybody out there who feels like they've just let it go too far. It's like I almost drowned one time when I was in Yugoslavia. I was drinking all day and I swam really, really far out. It was a really, really hot day. And when I turned around and realized how far away the seashore was, because I swam for so long like an idiot, I kind of panicked a little bit. And right then when I panicked, I vomited. And each time, if you're ever in deep water and you vomit, you go under because you can't tread water while you're vomiting, right? It's this gut-wrenching reaction. Your body just folds up and becomes a weight, a sinker. And I swam back to the top of the water. I remember having vomit in my hair because I had to swim back through my own vomit to find the air again. And I was about to vomit again. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to drown. And I remember there was a blink of a moment where I thought to myself, this may be it. And it's almost like I almost got relaxed because I thought, oh, well, I can't fight this. I'm going to drown. That's kind of how I felt this morning when I looked at those pictures. I kind of felt like, oh my God, I'm too far under. I can't save myself. This is an impossibility. Like not only do I look out of shape and not only is my fitness quotient so low, which that's not the thing, but I'm battling against some autoimmune disorder that really like wants to continue to etch away at my health while I'm trying to add to it. So I am going to do this. If you're doing this right now and you feel like you're in a hole and you need some mutual support, I'm thinking about starting a small Zoom group. Email me at onair@superhumanradio.net. If you're about to face a challenge, I don't care what that challenge is, cure your own cancer, get back in shape, overcome some sort of adversity in your life. I think we all can use each other to kind of motivate us from different ways. We each have a gift to give and we each can give a gift. And so if you're at a point in your life where you feel like I'm going to really need something to get past this, I'm going to really need something to fix this, email me at onair@superhumanradio.net, no matter what your challenges are, and we'll work together and we'll find other people to work together and we'll pool our resources and gather our hope and motivate each other because I need it, man. I'm serious. This is a hard pill for me to swallow. It really is. All right, look, we're going to end the show on that note. And I hope everybody enjoyed today's show. Don't forget, take advantage of this epigenetic test. It really is an amazing test, and you're never going to get it for this price. I think it's like $200, $250 or something like that on their website. It's normally a $1,000 test. Go to seeds.md/epigenetic-test and another slash to sign up and get this first test done. Because I am so hopeful about this test giving me the map of the things I need to get out of my life that are the reason for my autoimmunity. I'm very, very confident it's going to help. Okay, see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching and listening today. Please share this show. The greatest thing you can do to not only help me and other people, but it really is to share the show. Okay, thanks. See you tomorrow.